There we go. We are gonna be starting with the first game of the first match of today's session of our Age of Empires 2 the Conquerors Clan League Season 41, and it's gonna be round 7 between Gaucho B and the new chapter. So looking already at the players, you can see that we are gonna be having quite a high skilled affair on our hands with NC, LB10, Andorin and Ilford. That's all 2k players right there. And for Gauchos, it's not really that bad because Oxedo and Mate are both about 1800 plus. So that's pretty competent right here, and Poncho is about 1750, so quite a good complement. So about 1800 team against a 2k team. You could be guessing that there should be favorites, but I have to remind everybody that Gaucho B are definitely quite experts on Team Islands, as they are playing it quite regularly, especially in an RTS league. So you could be expecting quite a good performance from them, but right off the bat, looking at the map, this is interesting. Can see this little cove in here. It's actually a pretty huge cove, not really little. Right next to the road. This is potentially gonna be disrupting trade route and whatnot, and really gonna be conducive to some kind of landing. So this could be quite difficult for Gauchos to deal with if actually this is gonna be taken care of by NCs quite properly. Yeah, well, let's see about that. In the meantime, we see the civilizations are gonna be for Gauchos, Mongols, Vikings and Huns. Fairly standard combination for a map like this. And for the opponents, for NCs, double Vikings and Spanish. So yeah, they're not gonna be really aiming for actually any kind of landing. That could be some kind of idea for Gauchos right about now, but they definitely, a new chapter, will be aiming for water supremacy and then hoping that basically winning the water is also gonna be winning them the land. But on Team Islands, that can be anything but true, as we are looking also at all the fishies right now and the positioning of them all across the waters. Is there any kind of problematic space for somebody? I don't exactly think so, or rather don't see any kind of problem. Potentially, if maybe, you can see here Andorin wanted to for a dock at the back, but I don't really expect that all that much. On Team Islands, you definitely want to go for the forward dock position so that you can somehow control the strait between the islands. So I'm definitely expecting that. Andorin is gonna be coming front, and basically all of them, maybe only one, who could be coming a bit more to the back, could be Nilfred. If he's gonna be coming for some fast castle or whatnot, and basically just join in for the water a bit later. That definitely could be true, but since he is a Viking, yeah, maybe he's just gonna be all into galley rushing from both sides here. Not really sure. We're gonna be seeing pretty soon though, I guess. For the opponents, we are gonna be expecting... well, at this point, I'm not entirely certain what. Because they're gonna be discovering that their opponents are having double Vikings, whereas they're not. And I would be thinking that since they are quite experts really on this map, they are really experienced... basically the most experienced clan in the league on Team Islands, because they are really playing it for a few years already, so they really know how to play it properly. They could be surprising their opponents with some kind of early raiding or whatnot, and landing as well. So yeah, let's see if that's gonna be really happening or not. In the meantime, of course, we have already seen that Poncho is coming for a forward dock on the right side. We're probably gonna be expecting all the players from Gauchos. Oh, and I would be totally wrong. He's right off the back proving me wrong here, Exedo. He's gonna be coming for a dock at the back, which is of course gonna be quite useful for all the booming. You can see all the deep fish, like seriously, there's plenty of them. Quite plenty of them indeed. That's gonna be one hell of a boom for him with the Mongols. And it might be kind of signaling that, well, not entirely certain what. At least fast castle, I'm thinking. At least fast castle for him. And maybe, just maybe, not even coming for the water at all. Maybe it could be just basic landing, exactly as we talked. Definitely not a bad idea. And he could have some kind of interesting dock right in the middle in there, basically hidden in plain sight. And that could be quite helpful. Quite helpful in basically right now emerging from there. But he needs to be careful that his teammates are gonna be protecting him properly. Because if they're not going to be doing that, then this could be, yeah, quite a big disadvantage actually, and not really an advantage for them. At any rate, on the left flank there's a little pond that's not gonna be doing anything, just basically wasting space on the main island for Mate, who is already placing the dock in the front side. And since he's the Viking, that's exactly what you would be expecting, as they will be fighting in this part of the map. Oh well, hey Swiss boy, unfortunately no Age of Mythology today, as we are just waiting for some first playoff matches to be actually prepared. And of course, still need to set up the League Cup for all of you extra clans. But yeah, well, today you can enjoy some quite quality Age of Empires here and learn what the other game is all about, if you don't know. So, that's already interesting as well, because Nilfred is coming for the dock at the backside. And since he's a Viking, it's maybe a slight surprise. You would be expecting that potentially with a map like this, that is quite different as far as islands go, because on normal islands, in a pocket position, you can be kind of away and far away from the battlefield, but on Team Islands, you're really not. You can basically just as a pocket also galley rush without any kind of problem and issues, so it's slightly surprising to me, but it's most probably gonna be resulting into fast castle then as well, so probably both pockets, fast castling, and let's see where it's gonna be developing from there. Interesting placement of the rock by Andorin. This is really quite respectful to Gauchos, to be honest. Would be expecting that Andorin, as yeah, basically they are all 3 2K players, which is about 200 points more than Gauchos, they would be really quite, how to say it, confident in their own abilities, will be placing maybe the rock in the front, but yeah, well, apparently not. And he's gonna be aiming for the top side in here and bit more safer, so maybe he's gonna be also coming for fast castle. We'll see, I guess we'll see. But he's advancing like the very first player, so that's probably not going to be true. So just going for the dock in a bit safer position than something else. Rather than the other positions, yeah, in here can be seen second dock also, and he definitely is avoiding the front. That's really interesting because Team Islands is all about controlling the middle straight in there. And it's very hard to control it if you don't have docks there. And you can see that, of course, right now Teal player probably gonna be coming for a dock as well, once he finishes with all the shorefish. He has gone for back docks also. So basically all 3 NCs are more or less in the back. That's a big surprise to me. And they basically expect that this game is gonna be very hard for them, which yeah, it is true. But still I would be expecting they would be a bit more confident in their own abilities, which is most definitely true here. Rather, most definitely not. Sorry, not true here. And we already see barracks being dropped, so that's kinda telling me that Exodo is actually already preparing for landing, and they might be trying to basically close the game before it even kinda begins. Yeah, well, Swiss Boy, it's kinda similar to actually Team Migration from Age of Mythology, but it's a bit different. Team Migration is actually not a map, not an original map in Age of Empires 2. In Age of Empires 2, it was introduced in Nations Cup, I'm thinking. Maybe Nations Cup or War is coming, basically some kind of other tournament where Team Migration was finally made, but otherwise there is a normal migration in here, which is basically similar to Vinland Saga, and that is actually quite a popular map, played quite often in here. At any rate, let's go back to actually our Age of Empires 2 experience. We're already looking at Pancho trying to actually locate the rock, and he's, I'm fairly certain, quite surprised actually for what's going on here. Yeah, he probably doesn't right now realize, or rather doesn't know what's going on, because this is really surprising start to the game. Let's see how it's gonna be working for new chapter. And basically, as far as some kind of significance of this match goes, this is actually quite a disruptive match if it went, for example, 2-0 for Gauchos. If it went 2-0 for Gauchos, it would be very interesting as far as the rest of the results go. I'm thinking, if I remember correctly what I have actually looked at just before the match, it would be ending up with basically both NC and Gaucho being at the same points. I think they would be at the same points. And since, yeah, right now we can see the landing going on. Since actually this would be decided for Gauchos, they would be advancing into the playoffs fully. And NCs wouldn't be ensured to actually advance into the next stage. So that would be quite a problem for them. But as far as actually NCs, they need to take only 1 game from this match. We are gonna be playing 2 games. Home map for each of the clans. But yeah, well, it seems like that this could be really already heading for NCs. Because once the landing is so early scouted, before even some kind of extra horses are up, it's usually a pretty big problem, and yeah, the defending team is gonna be racking up the advantage and racking in as well. So that's gonna be blue scout dead, yellow scout as well, but there are of course gonna be a few more blue scouts coming out because of because of the stable here, and with the very nice actually boomy position for the fishing boats at the back, this is looking very promising for the blue player. If he can actually really be fast enough, because he has been scouted and potentially the defense could be there in time, as the tower already is. And we're also gonna be looking at the water, for example, where Nilpert is trying to protect his teammate, the Spanish player, and it kinda makes sense, because he's the Viking, and the Spanish, he probably wants to go for the castle age exactly right about now. Very fast castle age from him, very, very fast one, and he's probably gonna be quite fine in the defense, because he could be expecting, with all the stone that he's getting, that he's gonna be dropping a castle somewhere here, I'm thinking, and with the Conquistadors from there, it should be really fairly easy to defend against this potentially dangerous raid, but if it wasn't scouted this soon. So yep, protective tower. That's gonna be castle very easy to build, and of course this is gonna be resulting in the villages being quite easily picked off and killed in the meantime. So this seems like pretty bad news for actually Gaucho B. They're gonna be stopped in their tracks quite significantly early, but at the same time they're still gonna be fighting on the water quite significantly so, and of course it's gonna be up to Nilfgaard as the Viking to somehow stop Poncho, who is so far just basically scouting everywhere, but he needs to be paying a whole lot more attention not to be receiving so much needless damage in there. But Andorin on the left side as another Viking is definitely doing his job, and it seems that Mate is having quite significant issues handling him. Here you can see the amount of bows is basically double. Basically double for Andorin, so Mate even as a Viking is having significant issues somehow defending against all this, and with the economy right now getting dead and even the villager getting killed by the Wolfie. Does he have Loom? Oh yeah, he has at least Loom, so maybe, or rather sometimes on water you actually don't have Loom, so Wolfies like this could be an issue. But yeah, well, as I said, they know what the map is all about, and that means that they are prepared even for kind of eventualities like that. In the meantime, villagers absolutely everywhere. You can also see that the scouts are also everywhere from the blue players, so this is still going on, the landing. And is it gonna be really effective? Not really certain, because those guys are almost kinda dead. You can see 3 of them have health, so that could be reasonably fought, but still he could be using at least 1 or 2 spearmen here and there to basically make sure that it's not gonna be abused all that much. And maybe just put a tower in there, but since he is going full on water, he doesn't really want to somehow distribute the economy that way. So castle down, as we have seen a bit before, we are gonna be expecting Conquistadors already looking after, yeah, the villages and all the units extra, and of course with a few spearmen for the defense by Nilfgaard, it's really looking quite promising for a new chapter that this battle on the land is gonna be over more or less sooner than it actually started in full. So that's that. At the back, Andorin definitely doing great job and still continuing with raiding all the economy. But interestingly so, he has actually kind of stopped sending reinforcements. You can see this is basically all that he has here. As otherwise he's still raided inside his base with a few light cavalry. That's interesting. That's an interesting switch in momentum in here. That is gonna be a whole lot harder to actually get rid of with the villagers. And he will definitely need the wait for the assistance of the spearmen and much more importantly, the Conquistadors in here. But yeah, well, it's still gonna be fairly easily dealt with, as those 3 guys are gonna be dealing with any kind of new unit that could be potentially coming out of Exodus stable. So that seems quite promising also, as I said, about basically defending against this, and basically meaning that the castle is just coming for Andorin, and so is right now coming Vorgale, and of course Botkinero for Poncho. But looking how he has actually suffered significant losses on the water, due to actually Nilfgaard playing very well indeed on the water in there and having decent castle time, it's looking not really all that great for him, because all things considered, he's still right now being pushed around, waiting for the war galley. Exactly now, this is nicely timed by him. Wow, oh! Just as I said, it's nicely timed, he actually disengaged from the battle. Oh well, that was a big mistake, because he finally got Nilfgaard in exactly the correct moment. It almost looked like that he was stopping there, exactly expecting the upgrade, and luring Nilfgaard into a mistake, which was exactly what happened, but oh man, he kinda noped out and missed a very good opportunity. Well, that was a shame for him and for his team overall. But yeah, well, let's go back to the bottom side, where finally there seems to be some reasonable amount of boats for Gauchos. And exactly as I said, without the reinforcement being in time by Andorin, it seems that actually Red is gonna be retaking the water for his team, at least for the moment in there. On the left side, it's almost looking like that he finally did send at least the second squad. It's kinda late-ish, but better than nothing, of course. With Vorgale just now coming in, it's gonna be more or less confirming the supremacy, at least from the left side on the water. But from the right side, it's still gonna be kinda openish, as purple Gaucho Poncho is definitely playing very well and is keeping things kinda alive-ish. But looking at the fire ship from LB10, that's gonna be, of course, a bit of an issue, as that is not something that he can handle just about now. Oh well, he doesn't need to handle it all that much, as LB10 is not paying attention. So that's a bit disappointing, but I'm kind of thinking there are gonna be a few more in there hidden. Let's switch into LB10's point of view. You can see already the Conquistadors getting ready for everything. And how many? Oh, let me click there. Oh, it's actually just a transport ship. That's even more interesting and makes plenty of sense, because at this point LB10, he doesn't really want to engage on the water all that much. He's not ready for that. He's gonna be leaving it up to the Viking player of Nilfgaard. But he does have plenty of Conquistadors. He does have the castle. Potentially even a few monks here and there. Still one light cavalry alive in here. scouting. And with the villager coming in there as well. Oh, well, is it gonna be scouted? I'm thinking not. I'm thinking he didn't see that. I couldn't switch really fast enough, so I didn't really. But it's really looking like that he might have not. I'm not entirely positive. But since there is actually no kind of talking on the chat, or especially flaring, they could be of course on TeamSpeak, and they probably are, or something like that. But with any kind of flaring basically not happening, it's really looking like that he didn't notice. And this castle, even though it's not gonna be a full-on surprise, you can see that it was quite close to TC, and some extra units are already gonna be preventing that from coming up all that easily. You can see the water supremacy is not that full, and Gauchos will be having probably quite an issue to somehow stop in this castle, and I'm kinda thinking it's not gonna be succeeding even with the reinforcements, as the Conquistadors are really pretty strong. And if there gonna be something else, you can see already LB10 sending even few more villagers. And is there something else? Ah well, just one Conquistador gonna be commanding them in there, but the castle is finished, and that's a huge issue right now for the purple player, because he's gonna lose the gold. Right now desperately trying to finish it, at least the TC. I was hoping for a castle, but unfortunately he doesn't have the resources for that, and he will have to go for inefficient gold in here. This is, yeah, this is kinda bad for all those many villagers. Probably should have gone for the one at the bottom, but yeah, well, he will have to switch there sooner rather than later, because of course with the castle down, and of course the barracks and siege workshop as well, this is gonna be very hard. This is gonna be getting very hard for Gauchos to actually defend against. Otherwise, the buildings in here are still very much present, which is slightly dangerous for NCs, because this could still produce a few knights and kinda wreck your economy. So would be liking if actually NCs were careful about that. But right now, looking also on the water, it's almost looking like that Poncho doesn't have actually enough capacities right now to defend against both Nilfred and, of course, his opponent on the land as well, as he's trying to finish with the tower in there. And it definitely makes sense. He's gonna be fully right now relying on Exodo, basically saving his ass, because if he cannot, then Poncho is not going to be able to fight on the water and neither on the land. And yeah, this is gonna be just basically one thing after the other falling in disfavor of Gauchos, so in favor of NCs. And well, it seems like that they are actually taking the battle to their opponents quite competently. On the left side, Andorin is just having fun on the water against Mate, so there's basically standard Viking standoff between those two players in here. And yeah, just waiting for the correct moment, not really any kind of problem. Imperial Age is hitting for most of the players in here, and yeah, we're gonna be waiting for the Galleons and of course the resolutions of the battles from the technological standpoint in there. So Nilford definitely correct to be pushing the advantage for his team right about now on the water, because really Poncho is in a horrible situation right now, and it's gonna be all about if they can somehow at least stall the advance of NCs, because at this point, to be honest, they don't really have any kind of chance, or maybe even a hope of actually landing NCs again. This is looking quite a big problem for them. And this castle might be basically just the last stand for them, because if that doesn't come up, then the defense is gone. But at this point it's looking very promising indeed, because yeah, there is not really enough army from the teal player. You can see just a few conquistadors here and there, not even coming for some kind of raiding into the allies' economies. And well, of course, yeah, that's probably gonna be enough right now for Gauchos as far as stalling of the game goes. How's it looking on the left? The numbers are... maybe slightly better for Andorin, but we mustn't discount actually the fact that the dogs are for the red player right next to the battlefield, which basically means that he can replace losses so much faster than the green player, and that's a significant advantage in any kind of battle. So yeah, should be careful about that, Andorin, but Mate is probably taking this a bit more defensively than I would have liked. I'm really thinking it's not really that bad of a battle for him to take, but yeah, unfortunately, and apparently he doesn't want to take that, and that's gonna be meaning that he's gonna be waiting a bit more. And Nilfred just now discovering the layout of the land and how far he can actually go into the middle. This is actually quite dangerous also for this gold mine. I'm thinking at least the Galleons are gonna be in Imperial Age in range. Or, well, maybe I'm just too optimistic, but of course this is gonna be also disrupting the help route into the Chemos. So a boat against a boat. Yeah, we all know the Chemos used to be boats. But with another castle being finished, it seems like not even the McDonald is gonna be stopping there. Yeah, well, the situation is getting quite dire, and especially for the economy. You can see so many farms gone, and this gold is the biggest problem. Even though he does have secondary gold mines, two of them actually, it's still not really all that ideal. And once you lose the big one, it's always gonna be kind of a signal that this game is not gonna be nice to you. In the meantime, Nilfred has found his way around the island to actually help his teammate Andorin, which is a situation where a mate should be already kinda retreating and hoping for some kind of help by the teammates. And what is actually the gain here? Ah, just a few boats blocking the gold probably. So, well, yeah, it's looking not really all that great for Gauchos, and to be honest, at this point, since there is also pretty good control in the middle, you can see mate was actually trying to go into the middle of the waters in there. Andorin is though paying enough attention, and it doesn't look like that they could be even prepare any kind of sneak right now. Gauchos, it doesn't really seem all that possible, especially with Conquistadors just now ranging across the island and trying to find absolutely anything that they could be killing in there. Yeah, this is now a huge disadvantage for Gauchos. It definitely is. This kind of type of the island. In the meantime though, Poncho is definitely not giving up, as the Gauchos aren't either. And this is actually slightly unexpected actually comeback, he could be saying, as all of those rams, with basically just not enough knights to get rid of them. It might be just working, but well, with the Magwell coming up, fortunately it's not gonna be fast enough, and it's gonna be resulting into pretty much a successful defense in there. Looking at the economies, in the meantime, we are looking at NC 75, 77, 81. For Gaucho 76, 63 and 71. That's actually quite interesting. I will be thinking that Gauchos would be quite a lot more farther ahead, or rather farther behind. Yeah, the other way around. But yeah, well, it doesn't really matter, as the game definitely was aiming this way. And after they were scouted too soon, basically as soon as they were landed. It was a very nice job by New Chapter on the landing in there, on scouting the landing. And unfortunately backfired on Gauchos. They weren't able to do really all that much of a damage, with a few scout cavalry that transformed even into light cavalry. Whereas the landing and the timing of it, with actually the coming into power of Nilfred on the water, that was quite a big blow to Poncho, and Gauchos just couldn't come back out of that all that much. Oh well, Regicide Fortress for NC, interesting. Alright, let's check the achievements then, as NCs are taking the first game then and basically confirming their playoff participation. And right now it's gonna be all about actually trying to claim the first spot, because if they can win even the second game, they're gonna be first in division number 3. If they lose a game, then it's still gonna be interesting with RVK's Revenge of Night. And of course Gauchos, they still can potentially advance from the third spot, but they would have to tie now. If they don't, it's gonna be kinda hard. And I don't expect they're gonna be able to actually pass through. But a tie would still net them quite a good chance to actually advance from the third spot. So they still have quite plenty to play for in this match. Both teams actually. Well, the economy for Nilfred, that was quite an expert boom. Very well played. You can see so many extra resources above everyone else. That's really well done. Really, really well done. Okay, GG.